this year were among teens. More policing seems to be a common response by politicians, but that usually is only a short-term fix and does little to take on the root causes of gangs and youth violence. What do you consider the root cause of youth crime in Fall River, and what can the City Council do to address the issue?
Ms. Sadler, 90 seconds.
What I consider to be the root cause of youth violence within the city of Fall River, I would say the inability for our city to really reach out and provide other opportunities beyond hanging on street corners for our youth.
And what could the City Council do to address that?
What the city councilors can do, I don't have a specific answer for city councilors and youth violence. That's more of a police question.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Silva?
Hi. So I think a big part of it is getting more community engagement amongst our student population, getting them more involved in the community. Something I think the City Council could do is further support extracurricular activities. I know when I was in high school, I was in technical theater, and it was a huge part of my education. I consider it as equally as important to the academic side of schooling. But overall, I think what the city can do to kind of help engage our youth is just kind of promote upward mobility among the entire population to elevate the whole community. You know, anyone struggling with poverty, a lot of that kind of ties in with crime, unfortunately. And I think one way to approach that is kind of eliminating the desire for anyone to want to commit crime. So if people are living happy lives, I think that is the best way to prevent the crime.
Thank you. Mr. Sylvia?
Thanks for the question, Mike. Just briefly, one thing is, if you're asking what's going to improve the public safety in Fall River, nothing is going to change in Fall River until the city, people, politicians, people start to really care, right? The local media, when they start taking this process seriously, there's 90 minutes, there's 9 people here, 10 minutes, nothing's going to get solved in 10 minutes, right? So first off, you're not going to get concrete answers here until people in the city start demanding actual answers, right? We settle for all the crime in Fall River, right? Further support the youth. I agree with what he just said as far as crime rises with the economy declining, right? And Fall River is impoverished. It's not a police thing. As a former police officer, I'm the only person running who's responded to 911 calls, right? Former FRPD, worked in Brockton Police. I know about crime. Crime is not prevented by police. I see all these politicians, first off, they lie. First off, they lie about the problem. They say, I heard Linda say this week, crime is improving. I heard Joe Camara say the same thing. It's been better, it's been worse. Paul Coogan, crime. You need people who are going to be serious about what's going on, not sugarcoat the problem, lie about it. They're lying about it for their own political careers. So let's be serious about what it is. We need to fix the schools. We do need to bring up the quality of life in Fall River. It has nothing to do with police. I asked the police. They didn't say add more police. They said they were talking about liberal judges and whatnot.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Tixera?
Yes. I think one of the issues is I'd like to see more schools discussing the issue of repercussions of these serious crimes. I think a lot of them don't realize what they're getting themselves into once they're caught and putting their life away. I believe that they should have more sources in the school level as well as in the home levels. A lot of the issues here we're having is a lot of single parent families, their aunts, uncles, grandparents taking care of them, so they're not getting the real role models, and they're out more on their own time, not being watched. And a lot of it has to do with today's society with these crazy video games and life itself. But I firmly believe a lot of them don't realize what the consequences are. It just takes a second to pull a trigger, and then their life is over. So if we got more knowledge of them knowing what can happen to their future, I think that would help a lot in the city itself.
Thank you. Mr. Tith?
What I would like to do if get elected, I would like to work with the school department and with the police department, come up with an action plan, because nowadays is all the trend about hip hop, And back in the days, like in the 90s, was the worst gang, but now all the gang is gone. But I feel that city is, we have lack of a lot of plans of role models, and especially right into the school or into an organization that is like nonprofit and stuff. So I like to sit down together and create an action plan, you know, what can we do to help them, and especially like creating an ambassador for each individual from North End, South End, to have them to get involved with the action plan, and then also, you know, that way we try to encourage them to come out from after school program and stuff.
Thank you. Ms. Dion?
I believe that gang activity in High Rockies have morphed over the years. A lot of the activity is drug-related. Because drug activity and selling is so profitable, that it actually has become a family business where you see generational gang members. You have parents and children involved in the same gangs today, which we never saw many years ago. I think the only way we can approach it is that we need more boots on the ground, more community policing, more police presence. Because if you have police presence, they tend to not be in that area so much. I think in terms of us being a city councilor, we can vote and support for funding for additional boots on the ground to have the police presence in the community. It's obviously definitely something that does need to be addressed. But I think until we can break the cycle, until, again, it's generational issues. It came up recently. And until we can break that cycle, I think it's going to be very difficult to get a handle on it. Thank you.
Mr. Kilby?
Yes, thank you. Very difficult issue, of course. I mean, you read the papers and you see 18-year-olds dying. It saddens everyone on this committee. And if you're a politician, you're not, obviously we're politicians because we're running for office, okay? So we're politicians here. And we all care, absolutely care. So I did some bullet points based on that question. Drugs, changing opinions, parenting, huge issue in terms of parents keeping an eye on their kids, making sure they, as best they can, making sure they do the right thing, keeping them off the computers as much as you can, stopping crime, adults setting examples for kids, right? Basic. And you know, more practically, the question was whether what the city council can do. I sponsored a resolution many years ago about creating substations. To speak about, Councilor Haig remembers this. If you want neighborhood policing, create some substations within high crime areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pereira?
Hi, I was at a meeting last night at Father Kelly neighborhood, and the chief of police was there talking about all the statistics that we have. And given what the city of Fall River is doing in other cities, there is a difference. And I have it here, and I can leave it, and I can show you. And these are the differences in what Fall River was 2013 to what it is now. What the city council can do is provide more police, and we've done that. We just put on 18 police officers, so we're up to 211. I'd like to see two-man cruisers, because one police officer getting to a scene has to wait, even if it's a domestic, they have to wait for another officer to get there. I put together the Committee on Health and Human Services and Youth, because I think that there needs to be a committee to talk about that. We've done things, I've done things with, you know, Winter Wonderland, a Halloween party. You try to do things to get the youth involved, and we got kids involved. Before, the churches had dances. Every week there was a dance at some church. That's gone. I'm trying to save the Armory because I believe that that should be a place where kids can go. And then you got to look at transportation. How can kids get there from different parts of the city? I tried to do that before, and I couldn't get CERTA to get a bus to pick up kids from Durfee when they got out of school to get there. So there's a lot that can be done, but to think that we're not doing anything or we don't care about youth as a city in a whole, we certainly do. Thank you.
Thank-
This is
sorry-
not a
sorry,
debate.
no
This-
no